Hello and welcome back to DeadMooseGaming, and today we are back with World of Tanks. Oh well, at least the tanks from World of Tanks, because this is going to be a review of the T28E with F30. This tank is a tier 4 Russian medium tank. It is premium and it started going on sale a couple of months ago, and it's a rare of a tank because you can't buy it regularly. And for today I shall be comparing it with the T28, which is the standard tier 4 Russian medium tank, which people will be familiar with. So you can see immediately that the DPM on the T28E is much worse than that on the T28, about 350 less, I'd say, slightly more than that. And that's quite a big disadvantage, I guess. If you're brawling, it may cause a few issues. The penetration and alpha damage, however, are much better. The alpha damage of 160 is about twice that of the 85 on the T28, and the penetration is 120mm, and that's slightly better than the T28's 112. So this gun you may be familiar with. It's on vehicles like the KV-1 and the SU-85B, but I'm pretty sure that the DPM on those tanks is much better than what's on here. Before I continue, I'd like to say that I've outfitted both tanks with a gun rammer, an enhanced gun laying drive, and coated optics, I believe, because you know what the Russians are like with their view range. As you may expect, the rate of fire and reload time is worse on the T28E, but that's due to the DPM being worse. They go hand in hand. And obviously the caliber is a lot higher, 85mm compared to 57. So I guess there are some auto matching potential out of this gun more than there would be 20mm of armor. If you have that, you can go through it easily. The shell velocity is about 200 meters per second worse, and that's quite a bit worse. It means you have to lead your shots a bit more, but overall I guess you should be okay. The max range is the same, obviously. The ammo capacity is ridiculous, of 100 rounds, which is just insane considering the alpha of the gun. So in theory you could do 16,000 damage, so you know, go figure. And the T28 has 78, and its reload and alpha damage are, well, the alpha damage is worse, the reload is a heck of a lot better, so you may run out of shells more often. The weapon handling, as you may expect, is better on the T28. The aiming time's about 2 seconds, the accuracy is 0.33, so that's quite a good gun, really, quite good gun stats. The T28E, however, has 2.8 seconds for its aiming time and an accuracy of 0.41, which isn't cripplingly bad like you'd expect from the big Russian heavy tanks, but it means you're going to have to sit out there and aim for a heck of a lot more than you would in the T28. The gun elevation is the same, as is the accuracy after turret traverse, strangely enough, and after firing and etc. But on the T28 it's better in quite a few regards. And the T28 also has an extra degree of gun depression, which could be useful if you're fighting over ridge lines. But again, 5 degrees isn't cripplingly bad, it's just quite poor really, and you may struggle to hit certain shots. So far it's not looking too good for the T28E, because it's got worse gun stats and worse DPM. And the story doesn't get much better when we get onto the mobility of the vehicle. Its top speed is 10 km less than that of the T28, although its reverse speed is the same. They get the same horsepower engine, so you may be thinking, oh wow, the T28E must be able to move nearly as quickly as the T28. But the T28E weighs a lot more than the T28 does, so its horsepower per ton is about half of what the T28's is. And the terrain resistances of the T28 are also better. So this means that the T28E, although not being the slowest medium, it will be able to go past Matildas, for instance. it's not the fastest either, and the T28 will decimate it in that regard. The turret traverse and the tank traverse are also worse, so if you've got a light tank circling you, it may prove more difficult to struggle off. This is where it gets slightly better for the T28E, as its armour is significantly better. It's got 50 at the front all around, 40 at the side everywhere, and 50 on the back of the hull and 40 on the back of the turret. This is significantly better than the 30mm roughly at the front of the T28 and the 20 to 25mm everywhere else. So you'll be able to be more resistant to HE shells, for instance, and maybe low tier tanks like the T127 may struggle more to pen you from the front. But actually, other than that, all the medium tanks will still be able to go straight through your armour. But I guess it helps if you're trying to destroy tanks that are much lower tier than you. It does get more health, however, 380 compared to 350, which could be quite useful if you need to trade. And also the alpha damage comes into that trading aspect as well. The view range is slightly better. I think it's 360 meters base, and the T28 is 350 or something like that. I might be wrong there, but it's going to be something like that anyway. And not a significant difference, but it could be useful when it comes to spotting. The camo, as you may expect, is worse, but you don't really need to worry about camo in this vehicle. The radio range is a heck of a lot worse, but that's not really important either. And the fire chance is the same, so just try and make sure that your engine is protected. I was saying that the T28E weighs a lot more, and it does. The T28 weighs about 17 tons, and the T28E weighs about 33 tons. So it weighs nearly twice as much, which may be useful in terms of ramming, as will the frontal armour, but you are going to move around the battlefield a heck of a lot more slowly than you would in the T28E. So that's about it for the basic stats, and we're just going to quickly have a look at the armour of the T28E and see how resistant it actually is. Okay, so here we are in Tank Inspector, and I prefer Tank Inspector for checking armour values because you can customise the calibre of the gun, which actually affects the armour overall. So here we are with the T28E, and as you can see, 50mm at the front, no lies there really, that's pretty much exactly what you get. The gun mantlet is just spaced armour, there's nothing behind it, so you're not really getting that much protection out of it, but you could get about 60mm, 80 at some points in fact, at some sections of the vehicle. On top of these hatches or whatever you call them here, there's 15 in fact millimeters, I'm wrong, 15mm, which could be easily overmatched, but I think this tank is quite tall in comparison to some, so you might struggle to hit that. Everywhere else it's just 50mm, exactly what it says. From the side you've got 40mm as shown, but you have 30mm here, although there is spaced armour in terms of the tracks. That may be able to absorb some shots for you. The turret front 50mm, as you'd see from here. So, and it's relatively well angled at some parts, so you could get 80mm of protection out of that in certain areas. The rest is 40mm. The rear 40mm at the back of the turret, but it's rounded, so you could get some deflections off of the very edge. And 50mm at the back here. It kind of lies to you in some ways, as most of it is 20mm, so you'll be able to go through that with no issues whatsoever. The only 50mm portion is here, at which, yeah, well, I don't really know why you'd shoot there, to be honest. Side scraping potential, not really any, considering if you try and side scrape, the enemy could shoot here, where this bit sticks out, and that is 20mm of armour at most. so you just go through there over and over again. But the armour is better than the T28, as I said, so you'll be more resilient to HE shells, which could be quite useful in certain situations where there's a derp gun firing at you. That being said, I think that's enough of looking at the stats. So now let's go into a game and see how this vehicle performs. Okay, so here we are on Sands River, defensive assault. 54% chance to win. I mean, obviously it's 100% chance because, you know, Sands River defensive assault. I've already gone through why that is a rather peculiar map in my Centurion gameplay. So if you want to see that, check it out. And I'm heading to the middle, obviously, because what else are you going to do on this map? Spot this T-34, see if I can get in any supporting fire, but alas, not. So the game's developing as you'd expect, I believe. Medium tanks down one flank, the heavy tanks on the right hand side, and artillery on the enemy team picks up the T-34. So that makes it 1-1, but it's early days, so I'm not really too concerned at this point. And that's when I spot Skoda coming down the flank. That's kind of what you have to do though, if you want to try and flush out the people in the middle. Puts in a good shot, average roll, you see the power, but it takes up about a third of his health in one shot. It's a really nice gun, and I just decided to go in at this point. Put in another shot, Skoda misses, and at this point I've got the reloads. I believe my reload's 5.15 seconds, so it's quite lengthy, but you know, it could be worse. On the move, of course. 150 low roll against the Panzer IV-A. Yeah, going pretty well so far. Done 600 damage. Missed my shot, didn't aim it at all. I was hoping that Stalin would guide my shot to its target, but alas not. That's when I spot the Skoda coming across. Skoda? Type T-34, sorry. Coming across. I don't even know how that one bounced, as it looked like to me it went straight into his side, but obviously it hit his front at a really peculiar angle. So I came down here to avoid potential fire he would dish out. Trying to finish off this BT7. Nope, he gets away, unfortunately. There's another BT7. Tense moment here. He hits me, knocks out my radio operator of all things. Boo-hoo, I guess. Not going to heal him because it's pointless. Waiting for him to come around maybe now. The RT fired as you saw. Nothing happened however, and as soon as I pull away, BT7 gets spotted. And now the T28's coming down, so you know, juicy, nice high roll. I only have to do 3 shots to when he's down, get another one in. Now he's on really low health and the stick finishes him off. So 9-4, you know, casual Sam River defensive assault at this point. We've won already. I mean, it's not really any particular drama here. Just standard Sam River gameplay. Come down and finish off all the people pushing. Return to the mid ridge, try and get some spots. Nothing. Move forward maybe. Try and spot that KB1, and then the SU gets lit up. But he gets killed before I can get any damage. But that's okay, because in a minute I had to find a KB1. This shot is not particularly good. I hit his angled side armour. That one was not going to go through. This one, however, decently aimed, straight through his frontal armour, and the Wolverine takes him out. So now I've got my eyes on this Matilda Black Prince who's poking around the corner, and get a couple of juicy shots in here, hopefully. There's one, straight into his turret. Very flat turret of the Black Prince. Hopefully another one. Yeah, nice, decent roll as well. when you hit with this gun, it just feels so good. It's so punchy for a tier 4 medium. When you do get the hits in, it just feels absolutely splendid. I've loaded HE now for the artillery. 280 alpha damage, 43 pen. Decent HE rounds actually, especially for artillery, where hopefully I can just get a penetration outright. Aiming at this M41 HMC, he turns and I put one straight into his side. So that was a really pleasant game, and I did pretty well as well. Let's just take a quick look at the post-game stats. So, unsurprisingly, this was my ace tanker. I got the Fire for Effect and High Caliber awards as well, which is quite nice. I also came top in the team and in the game overall by damage and experience, while being able to pick up 2 kills. Again, quite nice. I fired 15 shots, of which 12 hit and 10 penetrated, giving me 1,627 damage. I received 4 hits, of which 1 bounced and the other 3 went in, but I still had a few hit points by the end. And I also did 535 assistance damage. I made 33,000 credits, considering it's a premium vehicle, and I managed to acquire 1,089 base XP, and with personal reserves and premium tier bonuses, along with the fact it was my double, I got 3,268 experience overall. So that was a very nice game, in a very nice tank if I say so myself. I like it for its good penetration and good alpha damage. I like it for its ridiculous amount of shells, it can carry 100. I like the decent armour which protects it against HE shells, and the mobility isn't that bad. It's certainly better than the Matildas, that's for sure. However, the DPM of the gun is nowhere near as good as that of the T28, and the soft stats of the gun are also pretty bad. You're going to spend a lot of time aiming at your targets, and you may even be lucky to hit them in certain ranges. Also, the gun depression is not quite as good as it could be. 5 degrees, although not being terrible, is also not the best. The camo ratings of the vehicle are also terrible, so there's not much point in trying to hide from people in bushes, I guess. And the shell velocity is quite low, so you'll have to lead your shots a bit more than you will with other tanks. Overall though, I would certainly recommend this vehicle. It's great just to jump into a battle and use your frontal armour and punchy gun just to annihilate lower tier opponents and annihilate equal tier opponents as well, and still do a reasonable amount of damage to the higher tiers because your penetration is good enough to damage them, and your alpha damage might even surprise some of them. Thank you for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I tried to go into some detail about the tank, and if I succeeded, maybe slap a like on this video. Yeah, if you want to watch any other of my Wild Tanks videos, there will be a couple of links on the screen now, and you can always decide to subscribe to the channel if you want to catch future content. So thank you again for sticking around until the end of the video. If you like what you see, let me know in the comments maybe, or subscribe or whatever, I don't mind. If you didn't like it, tell me why, I guess. And as always, I'll see you on the next video.